Gonna love that impersonation.
I know, right?
I scream, need help. So anyway, it's time for them to go back to school is the point.
Yes.
This is Girl Same with your host, Brittany. Girl. Same.
Hi guys, welcome back to Girl Same, our Girls Night podcast. I am Brittany, your host, and I'm here with my good friend Kayla. Hi Kayla.
Hello.
We are hanging out. We're having a girls' night. Kayla has her kiddos running around upstairs. My husband has so kindly agreed to tackle all 5 children for us. And we can just listen to the chaos from down here. It's okay. The kids, I think they enjoy having someone here, but they've been so excited. Like they've been dying to get out of the house is the problem. So your kids are probably enjoying being out of the house.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, because they've been here now for, I think it's 10 days. They've been on break. And we were talking about earlier how when we were kids, we had a week off, typically, like roughly a week. We had the week between Christmas and New Year's off. And now they have an entire week and then some before Christmas even starts. And so by the time Christmas does start, you're tired of your children, you know?
Yes, nicely put.
Uh-huh.
Well, and then like we were saying too, is that we also as kids had the neighborhood to run around in and other neighborhood kids, and not saying that there isn't still that community or whatever for kids to hang out with and whatnot, but not everybody lives in a neighborhood. And or neighborhoods now, I feel like in mine, people drive super fast down the road or whatever, and you're like, I don't really want my 6-year-old out and potentially get hit or whatever. So
exactly,
you keep them indoors.
It's totally different. I mean, we had my dad had, like the neighborhood, like that was his era. They could just roam the neighborhood. And then for us, I feel like our kids had, or like us as kids, had the street. Yep. And now our kids have like the backyard.
Yes.
Like it just 100%. Got smaller and smaller. And it's so hard because, come Christmas morning, like I was already fried.
Yeah.
I was done. Come Christmas, like the excitement had left and I was just done.
Excitement has left the building.
It is. And then like they rip through all their presents, and instead of it being like the first or second day they're home from school, this is like the 10th or 11th day they're home from school. And so, they run through their Christmas excitement, and then like the rest of the day we're just back at what we've been at for the whole prior week.
Normal routine. My favorite was after we had finished wrapping presents and stuff, or unwrapping presents, I should say. They tear through them and everything. And my 6-year-old comes up and he's like, so, are there more presents somewhere else? And I'm like,
no.
Nope, I'm pretty sure I put them all under the tree.
Oh, no.
I know. I want to do something else too.
Right.
But here we are.
Did you ask him, did you mean mine? Were you wondering where my presents were?
I know, right? Well, did you get me something?
Exactly.
Do I need to go find it?
Are you hinting? Is that what?
Right?
That's not what he meant. I know.
No, and I'm like, and now it's nap time.
Exactly. Well, this has been fun.
Yes, exactly.
My daughter for Christmas, last year she wanted that magic mixy thing, the like pot that had like a magic wand, and it came with like recipes and stuff.
Right, and it's supposed to be like a surprise comes of it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And up until that last year, we never bought into the like hottest toy of the year. We didn't ever buy into that, and she wanted it. She's known for telling us what she wants, and then like the week before she's like, but I'm most excited for this thing I never mentioned.
Lovely.
She's done that to me a few times. And so she's just not a big present person, like a material, like she doesn't have like attachment to things and stuff like that. So she's not the most fun to shop for because she just doesn't get as excited as like, you know, the kids who like my son who's obsessed with things, you know? Right. And so his impression or his expressions are always so good because he's just like, oh my gosh, you know, I wanted this. And Ellie is kind of like, cool. And so she told me she wanted this magic mixie thing like 3 days before Christmas. And of course it's the hot toy. And so it was really hard to find. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, no, you waited till 3 days before. I'm not going to feel bad about this. And for those 3 days, she went on and on. She's so excited. She's so excited for this toy that she never mentioned. Let me remind you. And so then Christmas came and she's the sweetest, like most grateful kid. And so she's like, oh, I loved everything. Thank you. And I could just see, the disappointment in her face. And so I was like, damn it. So I told Kuhn, I was like, failure. I know. Worst mom ever.
Right? Oh, I really topped off this year with that.
So what we ended up doing is, because she was so sweet about it. Like if she was a brat about it and was like saying like, I didn't get what I wanted, was like making a big thing about it. Like, hell no, we wouldn't have gotten her anything. Right. But she was so stinking sweet and like grateful for what she did get. And so I ended up finding it on Christmas. And so we couldn't pick it up until after. And so the day after I picked it up and I wrapped it and I put it on the front porch and we wrote a little note and we were like, oh, well, you know, the elves were so sorry. This one got lost or left on the sled. Blah, blah, blah. She was so excited, right? She did her tears, like her eyes teared up and she was so excited. She played with it and never played with it again.
Oh, nice.
Never played. It was like insanely expensive. Yeah. Never again. This year, she decided 2 days before Christmas, we went to see Santa and she told him that she wanted a VR headset. And no, guess what she did not get? So anyway, it's time for them to go back to school is the point. Yes. That's basically what it comes down to. Yep. It's time for them to go. All right. So tonight I wanted to talk about with you a few things. I'm so excited. So one, Kayla is with me on Hot Mess Express.
Yes.
And you are a part of the group, but you have like the most fun story for the group because you were one of our original missions that we helped. And now you're a part of the main group that you've done. I think you've done probably more missions than almost anyone. I don't want to say more than me, but more than almost anyone else in the group.
I think I've probably done 8.
Yeah.
I think I've done about 8
that
of them.
Sounds about right. Yeah. Well, I love bringing you on there because I think that you bring like comfort to the moms who are really, especially the last few that we've had, have been super anxious and super fearful of people being in the house and judgment and all that kind of stuff. And so I think having you has been, it's like our little secret weapon, you know?
Well, and I feel like I'm pretty good at reading people's faces and I could just see it all over with their body language and their facial expressions. And I'm like, man, I've been there. I know what that face means.
Yeah.
I know how you're carrying yourself right now. I know what that means.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, oh, we're here. Let me take a pause and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to be like, hey, what do you really need?
Right.
Or you're all right.
Yeah.
You know, I've been there. Hey, did you know that I was actually the second mom that they helped? You know, just putting it out there. So they're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, and you still survived. Alive. Yeah, exactly. You're still alive. You're breathing. You made it through.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I'm excited to hear about your experience with that, with being helped and then now helping. And then that's going to lead into us talking a little bit about that fear of judgment. So like we were kind of saying, like that fear of judgment specifically as women, but especially also as mothers.
Right.
So we're going to talk a bit about that. And then we are going to talk a little bit at the end about transitioning from being married to being a single mom, something that you are going through right now. So I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about that.
Okie dokie.
But first of all, I must introduce you. So we have known each other. Technically, we've known each other because when was that mission? When did we help you?
It was in August of 21.
Okay. So
right?
technically I've known you since then. So over a year. But we didn't actually really even get close until more recently, which is kind of like I had Marissa on the show for last time and we were talking the same thing. I met her at your house.
Oh, nice.
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But we didn't even acknowledge each other really outside of the group until earlier this year. So it's hard. It's hard initiating friendships as an adult. It's hard developing them, but I feel like initiating is the hardest step.
Well, because of like what you've already hinted at is the judgment and all the other things that come with, you know, your self-esteem as a mom in general. And then you're like, how do I read their vibes?
Right.
How are they as a mom? Do I put myself out there and, you know, be vulnerable and become friends with them? And oh no, our parenting styles don't mesh well,
right?
Or, you know, our personalities don't mesh well. And I'm like, well, crap, now I just put myself out there and I got rejected,
right?
Or, you know, whatever. So it's like dating, but
but so much worse. There's nothing worse than being like, any guy, like, sure, okay, you're not interested, that's great. But when women aren't interested in being my friend, like, that's a personal attack.
Yes. You're like, man, I failed my gender.
Right? Why don't you want to be my friend? So, and then, you know, it's funny because I watch the kids go and like they run to the park. They're like, hi, I'm Ellie. And 2 seconds later, they're like, Mom, this is my best friend.
Oh, yes.
And I'm like, what's her name? And she's like, what's your name? You know, like it just
yes.
So easy for them. Where I feel like with us, we really have to have several random interactions to feel each other out without engaging too much, you know what I mean? Just seeing how the other one operates. And then you start building it, but it's such a slow process because you slowly over time kind of throw things out there and see how they react, you know? So like
little nuggets.
Exactly. Like I do bedtime this way. You know, and you kind of like wait,
how do you feel about that?
What's the response, you know?
Yes.
And they're like, oh, well, I put them to bed every night at 8 p.m. I sing them a song. They go right to sleep. You know, I can't.
And I do a rain dance and, you know, all of this. Okay, that's not for me. I'm sorry.
Our bedtime is screaming, yelling, an hour past when it's supposed to happen. If yours isn't, can't relate. Sorry. Okay, so tell us about you. So you have 2 freaking adorable kids.
Thanks.
We know that much. Are you from North Carolina?
I am not.
Where are you from?
Not. I'm from a little bit of everywhere-ish. We settled here, and it was meant to be forever.
Yeah.
It was to settle in North Carolina. So
that's how it was with us. So this was meant to be our forever. And now that we've like put down so many roots and stuff with like Hot Mess and making friends and this kids' school and all that kind of stuff,
right.
We definitely don't have any intention of leaving. But since you've moved around a bunch, do you feel like you have ever had that tribe, that like girl group that has your back and you can count on and there's no judgment and all that kind of stuff? Do you ever feel like you've had that?
I had that. I feel I had that in Florida. I had a lot of girlfriends, and I feel like now that, I mean, I had it a little bit in Idaho, but that's because I was out in school. And I bonded, but then everybody kind of goes their own way.
Exactly.
And well, so I was excited to come to North Carolina. It took a while to get some friends-ish, you know. Luckily, we're relatively close, I should say, to Florida. And so quite a few of, I would probably say like 3 or 4 of my girlfriends still keep in contact from Florida.
Oh, that's nice.
But those 2 girlfriends come up frequently enough for that support. But then stumbling upon Hot Mess, that's where I just recently in the last year have really started to find a tribe. And I'm like, okay, well, I can do this because these are people that are going to be here.
Right.
And they're going to stick around. They're not going to be transitional and move and leave and all that. So I definitely have in the last year have definitely found more of a tribe. So I think
like Hot Mess is such a great opportunity to meet moms because it's like vetted already a little bit, like the moms who are part of it. You know, you've already kind of vetted out the judgmental nose in the air kind of moms because they just, I mean, they don't fit in this group, you know?
Nope. They come for one and, you know, and get a taste of it. And then they kind of just disappear on their own. We don't really have to do anything with that. So.
I know. I mean, we've been lucky in general to not have too many. But they're definitely, we've had one or two that have come and, you know, you could see on their face and comments and stuff like that, but they never come back.
Yep.
So, well, okay. So then let's talk about Hot Mess. How did you find out about Hot Mess? How did you first hear about it?
So I first heard about it, I'm pretty sure Jen, the founder of Hot Mess, I'm pretty sure I was on the local area mom Facebook page.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She posted on it saying something like, hey, would anyone local be interested in starting a group to where we just help out stressed out moms?
See, that's cool because Marissa, that's how she came across it too, which is funny because I just always assumed everyone found it through TikTok.
Right.
But I did not realize both of you found it through the local moms page.
So I saw it on the local moms page. I'm like, yeah, that would be so awesome. And I'm pretty sure I liked it. And but then I did nothing with it because I was like, I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, if it's just a thought bubble, you know, that she had. And then like probably not even a week later, I had gotten on TikTok and was, you know, scrolling, and I wasn't friends with her on TikTok or whatever. Yeah. And it popped up on my feed saying basically the same thing. Hey, I'm really, really liking this idea of this. Like, would anyone be interested?
Yeah.
I started a page, go to this page and fill something out or whatever. And there was only one form at the time.
Yeah.
And on the form you could check whether you wanted to be helped or if you wanted to be a helper. And
wow, we've come a long way.
Right?
We've come a long way from one form with like a checkbox. We've come away.
I know. Pat on the back.
I know, right?
And so I looked at the form. I'm like, nah. And then I looked at the form again like another day, and I was like, no. And then I saw on that local mom Facebook page, hey, we're going to do our first mission. And I'm like, oh, go you.
Right.
You know, I'm so excited and
cheering from afar.
Yes. And I'm like, I wish it was me. Right. You know?
Yeah.
Just because of the timing, you know, I was going through a real rough patch personally. So I had seen that, on this Saturday, you know, we're going to do it. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe, you know, I've always felt super good after I've served someone else. Maybe that's my problem. I haven't done anything outside my home for someone else, which in turn then is helpful for me. Right. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sign up and I'm going to be a helper. Yeah. I'm just going to sign up and do it. You know, what's the worst that could happen? You know, I'm doing it to help someone else, which in turn helps me. And so I had signed up as a helper, and I sat on it and sat on it and sat on it, which felt like weeks, but it was really probably 1 week. Right. I had heard that you guys, or that they had, were you there for the first one?
Yeah, I've been there since the very first one.
Okay. Just heard that it was a success. And I was like, you know what? You already signed up for a volunteer. What's it going to hurt to sign up to be helped? Yeah. And I just kind of had that talk in my head, like, I bet you 1 billion people have signed up. There's no way you're going to be called, you know? Yeah. And so I'm like, whatever, just do it. Yeah. You know, like you can't help yourself if you don't ask for help. And so I'm like, just do it. Ask for help. So I filled out the form and I said, I want to be helped. And it was probably like 3 days later, Jen, the founder, had called me. Yeah. And was like, hey, it's Jen Hamilton. You know,
she's like, gonna love that impersonation.
I know, right? I wish you could see my head bob, you know.
It's Jen Hamilton. Is that how she
you know, with Hot Mess Express. But she said whatever she said. Actually, I didn't answer. because I didn't know her number.
You missed it.
It was a voicemail.
Oh.
It was a voicemail. Yeah, that's what it was. I know. Even better, right? So she left a voicemail and she's like, hey, this is Jen Hamilton with Hot Mess Express, and I read your thingy and wanted to know if you would be interested in being our second mom. And, you know, if you're not comfortable, that's fine. But, you know, let me know. I'm really excited and I would like to, you know, do this. And
yeah,
I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she called me. Like, this is crazy.
Right.
And I'm like, do I call her back? But I did. I called her back because I'm like, well, that's a sign, because I was super hesitant to even do it. And then 3 days later, she calls me. And so I was like, yep, let's do it.
Right.
Let's go for it. Be brave. You know, be brave for yourself. And so I did. I was brave and called her back. So
when you decided to let us help you, at that point, we had only done one other mission. You were our second mission, and we still had no idea what the hell we were doing. No idea what we were doing when we came to your house.
Right.
We didn't tell you that then, but I can tell you that now.
That's okay. That's okay.
What was your thoughts? Because now we have several like before and after videos that we kind of have for people to to see what we do. We have like Facebook, we post about things, talk about like the missions, and I feel like there's just now you can, if you're looking for our help, you can get a much better idea, better understanding of what we do, what to expect.
Right.
Whereas with you and probably, I mean, obviously the one before you, but probably like the third and fourth, I feel like we had our stuff together by like the fifth, you know, like a little bit. But before then, there really wasn't much to like compare it to or like to prep for, you know what I mean? So were you, I mean, how nervous were you? I'm not even asked, were you nervous? How nervous were you that we were coming?
I was pretty nervous, but I feel like needing to be dug out of whatever funk I was in, what outweighed how nervous I was.
Good. And that's great.
Right. And so I just, even though I was nervous, I just was like, whatever this is, I'm going to take advantage of it, because this obviously was a hand reaching out to me, and I just need to take it in and accept it. Yeah. Because, you know, obviously it's meant to be helpful. And so I feel like the need definitely outweighed any of the nerves that I had at that. And I feel like at that point in my personal journey that I was in, I couldn't go really any lower. I just was like, any resource that I could get my hands on is what I needed right then and there. And so I wasn't going to deny it. If they accepted it, I was like, yep, let's do it. So.
How many of the volunteers did we have for your house? I'm trying to remember. I feel like it was like 8-ish.
Yeah, I would say 6 to 8.
Yeah, I mean, it was a decent
of the picture
size
that you guys took in my yard. I'm pretty sure there was at least 6.
Okay,
at least 6.
Okay. It was so nerve-wracking for those first few, because one of the things that we do, I mean, we get in people's stuff, right? Like we get in it. And so this isn't like dusting, vacuuming. I mean, we're organizing. So we're in your pantry, we're in your drawers, we're in like the little baskets of like random junk you just kind of accumulate.
Those are called doom piles.
Oh, okay. You're supposed to name it something less terrifying. It's supposed to be like uplifting.
Not in the ADHD world. In the ADHD world, those are legit vortexes of doom. Those doom piles are like, I don't want to deal with you right now, but you need a space, so you're going into a box within another box within another box. Yes.
I have lots of drawers that look like that.
Yes.
That you open and you're like, well, we'll deal with that another time. Now's not that time.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But we get so deep into people's personal stuff. You know, it's funny because when I was talking to Marissa about it, I was like, I cannot believe how much courage it takes someone to do that, because I don't know, it would take a lot for me to let people come in and go past basic cleaning. You know what I mean?
Superficial. Right.
Exactly. Like getting really into it. Yeah.
More than a maid. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah. And that's why I think we get called, and why people want to be nominated for this versus hiring someone or even like asking family and stuff like that, because even if you hired someone to do the organizing and all that stuff, you're really facing that fear and that judgment and all that kind of stuff. And I think like that's what our group kind of provides, is that help without that.
Right.
Because, you know, we've helped lots of different people across the board financially. And there is probably, I don't know, a handful that I probably could have afforded to pay for someone to come and do it. There's a handful that has family in the area. They had a good support system, but they didn't feel comfortable asking them to do this, you know? Right. So I think that is definitely where we come in. And one last question before we transition here. Did you know that day when I walked into your house that we were going to be best friends? Did you know right then and there?
No, there was a vibe.
There was a vibe, right?
Right.
And then like 6 months later, we checked in on that vibe and decided maybe it would work out. Having us come over, one of the things I also wanted to ask you about having hot mess and stuff is, what did your then husband, your now ex-husband, think of that? Like, was that a conversation? Did he care? What did he think?
He cared in the sense that the house would be clean.
Okay.
It necessarily wasn't dirty because I'm a spot cleaner. I'm like, okay, I can handle this spot right here, right now. So the whole house is never clean altogether, you know, especially with 2 kids.
It never happens.
I'm a spot cleaner, but I feel like he was kind of indifferent. He was like, oh, cool, you know, like good for you or whatever. And then, oh, that's nice of them that they're willing to come in and help you out. You know, you need that or whatever.
Help you out.
Exactly. Yeah. Help me out. I feel like indifferent is the term, just because based on his personality and where we were at in our marriage.
Right.
It was more so of a, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting to me too, because with you, we went in, we didn't know really anything personal that was going on for you and stuff. And you go into someone's home, and I've told you this before, you see pictures on the wall of family, of a couple, wedding pictures, stuff like that. And our group, specifically at your house, because you had a lot of that kind of stuff,
right?
Commented multiple times, like how happy you guys looked. You know, we commented on just your family. It was such a beautiful family.
Right.
And I mean, it was just like everyone commented on that when we were in your house. And to find out, like now at this point, that you were going through such a hard time in your marriage is like mind blowing. It was like shocking. And it just goes to show, I mean, you just don't know what is going on in anyone else's life.
Yep.
I mean, the surface stuff, it always looks rosy, but you really don't know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
With you recently getting a divorce, I feel like something you faced that a lot more women face now is kind of the realization that by getting a divorce, you are almost losing some responsibility. Like you're having some weight taken off your shoulder by stepping out of the marriage and just being a single parent. Do you feel that applies to you?
Yes. More so because, I mean, some marriage, every marriage is different. But I do find the more I look, the more I realize that there are a lot of marriages that were like mine, where the spouse assumed the role of caretaker, or I should say breadwinner, bringing home the bacon.
Right.
And then the wife was to be everything else.
Everything. Yep.
Right.
Fill in all the other pieces.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Whenever there's a relationship like that, and then the wife is like, hey, I'm putting in all of this. Where are you matching me? That's where we start to fall short. Is it's not an equal effort, even though there's the opinion of well, I'm out of the home and I'm bringing home the bacon. I'm working and all this stuff. Yes, I understand that. Yeah. I understand that it takes you out of the home and there's a lot of work that I don't see.
Yeah.
But you physically see all of my work. You get paid for your work. I don't get paid for my work. So like a way to quote unquote pay me for my work is like through appreciation.
Right.
Through, here, let me help relieve some of your stress by doing this or doing that. Or
acknowledgement.
Whatever. Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. It goes a long way.
It does.
It goes a long way. And I was lacking that in my relationship. And it never really was, well, why don't you do this? And why don't you do this? Like some other people experience, which I'm grateful for, because that would have destroyed me on a different level.
Yeah.
Feeling like I was never enough. Mm-hmm. I had that issue with my own self, feeling like I was never enough. And then to have it from a spouse, that would be really hard.
Sure.
But I didn't get recognition a lot. It was like, oh, it's awesome that I come home to a put together home. It magically happened.
Right.
And I often felt like I was taking care of another child, not part of a team.
Yes.
I didn't feel like I had a spouse. I felt like I had a third child.
And that's what I mean when I say stepping out of the marriage, that weight has come off of you. Mm-hmm. Because I know in a lot of circumstances, looking at a divorce can be overwhelming, because now you're like, okay, well, I had to do 50%, now 100%. That can be daunting and intimidating and scary to go out and file in those circumstances. But I think lately, especially as of lately, I think a lot more women are starting to realize that, hey, I'm pulling in a little bit more than you here. And I'm not getting acknowledged for it. I'm not getting helped with any of it. And by getting divorced, I now have less responsibility. So I'm not going from 50 to 100. I'm going from like 100 to 100, but like without all this added stress from you,
Right. Well, yeah, because you can depend on yourself.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like if you have a certain standard that you wanted to be met in your home, boom.
Yes.
You meet that standard.
Right.
And so you're just going to do it.
Yep.
And I mean, in my situation, which is different than most because my ex-husband is a truck driver. And so eventually he was out of the home more and more and more. And so, I was kind of forced into assuming all those responsibilities.
Yes.
But I look back and think, well, shoot, I was doing that before he was a truck driver anyways, because he sat in his chair and was a chair dad.
Yeah.
And so it really wasn't any different. It actually was easier because I was not feeling like my spouse was in the home and then just choosing not to be helpful.
Well, yeah, it's a whole different thing when you're like, okay, when you're single and you're just with your kids and you have to make dinner and clean up dinner and put dinner away and do bedtime. I mean, that's just there's no one else to do it. Right. So that the only option is for you to do it. But when you're married and your husband is sitting on the couch, will you make dinner? And sitting on the couch, will you feed dinner? And sitting on the couch, will you clean up dinner? And couch when you're doing bed? Then that's a whole different thing, because you're like, there's another pair of hands over there that could be helping.
Oh yeah.
I could be having it easier. I could be not so stressed. I could be not so exhausted and ready to snap at the kids. And I could be in a totally better, healthier set of mind if he would just help. Totally different.
Yeah.
Very, very different situations,
Oh, yes, very much so.
Mm-hmm. And then you're worrying about it the whole time you're cooking dinner. You're thinking, while you're helping with the kids, you're just sitting there and you're thinking like, why aren't you helping? Why aren't you helping?
Does he see this?
Exactly.
Like, right. Like,
and when they're not a part of it, when they're not in the picture anymore and it's just you, I mean, it's just, I have to get this done.
Right. It's like, oh, well, now it's easier to manage having 2 kids hang on my legs while I make spaghetti. Like,
right.
It's because
of course
it's like,
I'm dealing with it.
Me,
I'm a single mom. This is what single moms do. But when you're married and doing, you're like, why the hell am I doing this? I am married.
Yes.
I have someone who agreed to help me, like promised.
Yes. Like, what happened there?
I talked a little bit about it in previous episodes, but my husband, Kuhn, we went through a hard time similar where he was kind of in that mindset of, well, I work, I bring in the money, like that, period, and that should be enough. And so we went through a really hard time, and it was looking like we were heading for divorce, and luckily we were able to work through it. And I'm sure, as you can see now, that's not the case. He's definitely, he's definitely much more helpful and stuff, but I can relate because we had a couple of years where it was so exhausting, and then the stress of like wondering why he wasn't helping, and is he going to help this time, and all that. Then the resentment builds, and once you get to like resentment, it's hard.
That's the word I was looking for when we were talking about it. I just was like, this is so hard not to resent you. Like, you literally are watching me be pushed to my max,
right?
Or above, like your threshold has been met, you're tapped out, too much touching, too much, all of this is going on, you're overstimulated, you're overwhelmed. I'm like, you're literally watching me do this.
Yes.
I shouldn't have to ask for help. You should see, you should read the room, you should hear the volume level,
right?
And understand oh shit, she needs help. Like, I need to go in there and do damage control at this point, not a peek around the corner,
right? And
be like, hey babe, do you need help? We're past I need help.
Yeah.
The kids
well,
need
and
help.
then the whole do I need help? That drives me crazy. But like, look at me. I scream need help. Like I scream help me.
Do you see my clothes?
Exactly.
Do you see my hair? Do you see that I have fingerprints all over my glasses and I can't see anything that I'm doing?
Exactly. As you have a kid hanging on your leg and you're stirring the pot on the stove. I've got it. Thank you. You go rest.
No big deal.
Yeah. I know, it's so hard. And once you get to resentment, I feel like it's near impossible to come back from that, because it builds, you're annoyed, you're irritated, you get mad, you get angry, and you can always come back from that. But once you start resenting your partner, it takes a lot of work on both ends to come back for that. Because I definitely felt that towards Kuhn for a while, a lot of resentment, and it was no easy task, like coming back, because you view them very differently when you resent them. Like they're no longer the person you fell in love with. They're no longer, my husband. They're just this person that is just irritating me.
Right. And I felt that we were approaching that resentment stage, and then I was like, I'm here to support you. I always have been. And at the time I was actually working from home. So on top of being a mom of 2.
I forgot you told me that you were working from home for a bit.
Yep. I taught online.
So he didn't even have that to hold against you. He didn't even have the
I work and you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I was working from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Wow.
Teaching English to Chinese students.
I totally forgot you did that.
Yeah. For 5 years. I did it for 5 years. And I did it through my whole pregnancy.
And this man has the balls to complain to you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So
what went wrong?
Who knows? It's in the Lord's hands. Like, I was like doing whatever I needed to do to support my spouse so we could have a better marriage and all of this stuff. And I felt resentment encroaching, and I didn't want to go there. And so then he brought up this idea of trucking. I'm like, thought in my head, that might be good,
right?
That might be good. That might help some resentment if you're out of the home,
right.
Maybe you're actually working and physically doing something, so you're not sitting in a chair every time that you're home, whatever. And I was like, go for it. And so he did that, was out of the house. So in the beginning of it, it was nice, and we yearned for him to come home and stuff like that. But like whenever it happened, or when the idea brought up, I was like, listen, you're going to be tired and whatnot. So what's really important is that you get the sleep while you're out, because when you come home, I'm going to need you to be present.
Right.
I literally will be the only parent at home. I can't lean on you whenever you're working, because I'm going to be the only parent. So when you come in those doors on the weekend, or, you know, whatever, whenever you're in town, I need you to be full force present.
Yeah.
You know, it would be nice if I could back off a little so I could have a mini break, or,
right.
you know, whatever, but at least meet me there or whatever. Oh yeah. Well, it didn't. It was the same.
Yeah.
And so then that resentment came back, because I thought that this was going to be the thing that was going to be the saving grace.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it really is hard. And like I said, once you get to that resentment place, it's really hard to come back. And I feel like most people don't. I feel like once you hit that point, that's when you can get really upset. You can have these big fights, but when you get to resentment is, I feel like, when your head goes to divorce.
Right.
Because then you just, or you're done. You know, you kind of just feel nothing at that point.
Well, and I feel like, at least for me, I didn't go straight into the thought of divorce. I definitely went into the thought of, you know, maybe a separation will be the eye opener.
Yeah.
And that's what I had in mind, was separation first. And I thought that would just be a wake up call. And then just a couple months into the separation, I just knew. I was like, yeah, the lack of effort.
I remember you telling me about the separation, and then you were hoping that was going to be enough for him to be like, holy shit, I'm about to lose my family.
Yeah.
Let me get my shit together. Nothing happened.
Nope. Nope. I knew a couple months in, I just was like, yeah. If anything, it got worse. It just was like, I'm not liking the true colors that I'm seeing. And they just got brighter and brighter as the separation went on. And I'm like, okay, well, now I'm looking at separation as a countdown.
Yeah.
To when I can actually file, because you just, every week you're surprising me with something more. So.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us. I know that you're going through it right now, so I appreciate you talking about it. I have one last question for you before we end our girls' night. I'm trying to ask everybody who comes on the show this question, because I do feel like once you get into your 30s, you start caring about things. You care a little less and a little less as you get older and older. But I feel like that turn really happens when you get in your 30s. So what is one thing you stopped giving a fuck about in your 30s?
I would have to say letting other people determine my happiness. It just, you just get really disappointed whenever you have these expectations for someone, and you rely on them, and you're like, yeah, man, you make me happy or whatever. And then all of a sudden they keep dropping the ball, and you're like, okay, well, you know what? I can make myself happy.
Right.
I can do this for myself. And I can, and I feel like a lot of people are on self-discovery journeys and what have you, whatever you want to call it. But it's important for you to be able to make yourself happy.
Yes.
Because then you're able to make others happy. Right. If you yourself are not happy, how do you expect to help make others happy? It's like that whole thing about filling other people's cups. If your cup is empty, you can't fill up anyone else's cup. And I feel like I totally hit that, because I had my daughter when I was 29, and then a month later I had my 30th birthday, and I was already kind of feeling wishy-washy in my marriage. And I thought, man, what is going on? Like, is it me?
Yeah.
Is it, whatever? And I'm like, what? I'm just not feeling validated. I'm not feeling appreciated or whatever. And I'm like, why am I waiting for someone else to validate me?
Right.
Why am I waiting on someone else to appreciate me? Why am I letting someone else determine my happiness?
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I don't need to. I can appreciate myself by doing this, by doing, positive self-talk, by finding hobbies. There just were so many things that I discovered that I could do to make myself happy, to make myself feel appreciated and loved and whatever. And that outlook has completely changed my life. And then being able to have the courage enough to ask for help, to reach out to Hot Mess Express, that was another way of giving myself grace and giving myself love.
Definitely.
Like, look, Kayla, like, reach out for help. It's okay. And so I have told you personally that moment when I had asked for the help and then I received the help, that was the time that I was brave enough to all that personal turmoil that I was going through. I was brave enough to put my foot down and be like, look, this is what I want. I can make myself happy now. I can do it on my own. And I put my foot down and asked for that separation. So I
think that is so awesome that, I mean, you did it for yourself, but that Hot Mess could be like, have an impact and be a part of it in some way. I think that's so awesome. Because that is like the goal of the group, like to not just come in and clean, but the idea to come in and give women like a fresh start, give them like that boost that they need, because a lot of that with our house, it just weighs us down, you know? I mean, the messes and stuff, and you look at it and you think that you're not doing enough because that mess is there, and you're not a good enough mom because that mess is there, and you're behind because this mess is there.
Right.
And it stresses you out. And it's like on your mental, I need to fold that laundry, and I needed to organize that drawer, and all that stuff weighs on you. And when someone else can come in and just kind of give it a refresh and give you a second to like not think about all that, clear your thoughts and breathe.
Oh yeah, it took away the noise.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
that environmental noise that I was going through in my brain, I was clogged up with all of that, and I couldn't see clearly. And when I sat down and was able to see a clean home and happy kids and whatever, I just was like, I actually can hear my thoughts. I can process what I need to do, and that was it for me.
I love that Hot Mess could have like, be a part of it and stuff like that. Because like I said, that's what I hope, that's where I want to see the group continue to go. And I think that as we find volunteers, I think we've been really lucky with the volunteers that we found. We found the right people to be a part of the group. They want that same thing. Like they go into these houses with that same idea that we're here to kind of give you that boost and kind of help you get to where you want to go and give you a second to breathe and stuff like that. So I think that's awesome.
It's been great.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us for Girls Night. Find out what we'll be talking about at our next Girls Night on all the socials at Girl Same the podcast. And let me know what you think. Tell me your stories. There is no judgment here, because nobody really has their shit together as much as we like to think. Come hang out with me every other Monday. Bye.
Girl Same.